clear. We in somebody else's house. I'm still throwing out my house. This happens to be a better house. And the baby's sleeping upstairs. And so I can't really scream like I want to. Ain't this some shit, this election, huh? So Joe Biden and everybody, because of Corona, told everybody to send in them ballots. And we did. I forced my mother and my father to send in the ballot. I sent in the ballot. And so that was the marketing play. Michelle Obama, send in the ballots when we all vote. Send in your ballots, because we got people acting crazy in America. And we also got the COVID. Don't want to stand in the line. And so that's what happened. And Trump was in the lead, no doubt, the night of, because the Republicans went in. But then they had to read the ballots. And he doesn't want them to read the ballots. And it's a real testy time for American democracy. And it's a very testy time for the Republican Party. Because if this guy's going to get up there and say that democracy is a fraud, we have a problem, America, a huge one. And so a ton of people, what's up, Super Cindy, what's good, baby, 99 Jams. A ton of people have worked hard and ran for president and almost won, and Hillary was supposed to win and she lost, and she conceded. It's a scary time because it don't look like this guy want to concede. And so it's really crazy. And if you're watching this TV, I've been cleansing. Like trying not to watch TV. What happened?
I'm going to see how it looks.
All right, I've been trying to not watch TV and cleanse. But, you know, every time I look, it's a problem. But, you know, they melted them ballots. And the problem is, Trump knows where them ballots are coming from. They're coming from Philadelphia, the urban areas. They're coming from Detroit. These are black and Latino neighborhoods that they know going to vote for Biden. So they anticipating the loss, and that's why they talking all that shit. It's terrible. I want to shout out my Pastor Joe. I told you about him last week. He passed away. His family's at the viewing now. Shout out to the family of Pastor Joe. God bless the man. Used to pray for me when I was in the street. He's going to be missed, man. He helped me in my life and a bunch of people. Tonight we have some unique guests, more than one. But, of course, the biggest in the game. Not yet. Not yet. But, of course, always the biggest in the game. If you're new to the show, we've been doing this for 8 months straight because of Corona. And we've been bringing the biggest guests ever created in the history of mankind. Last night we had Jay Prince, who was considered the blueprint of independent records, Rap-A-Lot Records, the whole Texas movement. Even to today, I believe Drake is signed with him or to him. I don't know the intricacies about it, but he's still one of the biggest in the game. And that's what we do. We try to give stories of inspiration, you know, in our community, in our culture. Guys that you can look at and be like, damn, this guy's a man of respect. And so, it ain't time yet. Yo, Juan, what's good, baby?
I'm here, my brother.
Engineer Juan. Thank God you ain't got to wear the spacesuit no more, huh? Sheesh. Engineer Juan, that's Khaled's engineers. You know, it's personal, man. I used to come in here, it was 1,000 degrees and Juan had the spacesuit on. Uh, it was bad for him, man. I used to feel bad for Juan. Juan's my guy, though. Loyalty is everything for me. Gentlemen, one of the biggest sports commentators in the history of the game. Yo, Jamil, what's what, what you know the baby's sleeping, but you know I usually scream. I'm loud.
Oh, what?
I borrowed. I got thrown out my house, so I borrowed Khaled's house, but his little baby is right up there. So you know, Khaled's wife, she's crazy. She's a beautiful person, but she came up. She said, "You know, the baby's sleeping right over you, right? So don't be screaming that Fat Joe shit."
Oh man. Well, we better not get into any heated sports conversations then.
No, no, we love it. But let me tell you something, Jamil. How did you start in sports?
Well, so growing up, I grew up in Detroit. And shout out to Detroit playing a major part in this election. 313.
You know the Jones Girls. I always use their song as the intro to my show.
Oh, word.
Egypt nights over Egypt.
Yeah. That used to be the joint, man. It still is. I can't even say used to be. That is the joint.
Play it
Uh,
every night. I play it at the intro of the show, and but this week I've been playing the message that don't push me because
mm,
that time right now. But we're gonna talk about that time. But
right.
in Detroit, how?
So I started in Detroit, and because that's where I grew up, and so I was one of those girls growing up. I was like the neighborhood tomboy. So I love playing sports. Back then I had some wheels. I always had an arm, and so like we would play street football. I was always the quarterback. I used to run the option, even though I hated Notre Dame. I did like Tony Rice. You know, them youngest don't know about Tony Rice.
I,
Yeah, he was for real. So yeah, growing up loving sports, watching sports. I don't even remember a time where I didn't. And I was also one of those kids that was a nerd, so I loved to read. And so that taught me how to love language. And back then, of course, you know, when you were growing up and watching sports, you know, ESPN wasn't around quite yet, or it was just like just getting started. And we didn't have cable or anything. So you had to read the newspaper to keep up with your sports teams. And so I started reading the newspapers and everything, and reading the sports sections in particular. And so that got me to kind of fall in love with sports writing. And so ever since I was in high school, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports writer. And so I majored in journalism at Michigan State. I worked in newspapers as a sports writer for about 10 years before I got to ESPN. And when ESPN hired me, they hired me as a writer. They didn't hire me as a television personality. That just kind of happened as a byproduct of me being there. So yeah, I mean, this is the only job I've ever really had.
considered a pioneer in women in the hardcore sports because you know I've seen you hold your own, argue with everybody. Ain't nobody playing with you. Your girl was here last week. Your partner, Champion Kari, and she was like, you know, you know, I can see them trying her even though she tough. But I've always seen you like hold your own like on another. You know what I'm saying? Like, were you a pioneer doing this?
Well, well, you know what? I'll say this. Some people call me that. I don't really like to refer to myself as that because look, it's been some OGs in the game
Mm.
before me. You know, you think about
Reggie.
somebody. Yeah. I mean, you think about somebody like Pam Oliver or even Claire Smith, who won. Those who are not familiar with her, she was a baseball writer and columnist, black woman for a long time. Worked at the New York Times, the Philadelphia Inquirer. She's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, and she's somebody I got to work with at ESPN. I was very fortunate. So there were definitely other women who did it. I think the difference with me was that being at ESPN, I think you were used to seeing women like anchoring and certainly as sideline reporters. I was giving my opinion from the moment I stepped into ESPN.
You was throwing them bows. You was throwing the bows, and you know my maybe the biggest misconception is my brother Rich. He used to play semi-pro, and I used to go to his games. And these wives and sisters of these football players were so wild and passionate about the game. They sleep and they think the women ain't passionate about football and sports. The women get crazier than the men. I'm like, yo, they crazy.
Nah, you're right though, because look, right now the NFL fan base is 46% women. All right, so there's a lot of women who love.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of women who love the game, and so I think now that we're in a time where women, there's not a lot of sort of stereotypes or guys I think are more accustomed to women being fans, and for that matter, women being announcers and analysts.
You know, with all this craziness going on, right? Have you watched the election? I'd like to thank you for coming on the show during this U.S. of anxiety time. No, I took a Xanax the other. I don't use drugs. I took a Xanax the other night to go to sleep. I'm
Yeah.
Xanax because I'm watching the election. It's 4 in the morning. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna keep thinking about this. So I had to pop a Xanax, like, cause it's an anxious time. Like, what do you think about what's going on with this election?
I have a lot of thoughts, but mostly, I guess what continues to stay with me is two things that stay with me. One is that Black and brown people will save this country from themselves, and that's really evident by what we see happening in voting right now. You look at Detroit, you look at Philly, you look at Atlanta. All these cities have turned out historic numbers because, unfortunately, despite everything we've seen, this 4-year shit show that we've been in, we have 50% of white people still support this bullshit. And it is taking the rest of us to drag America back to democracy.
Well, you want to know what? That's an excellent point you made. But I used to think, and I don't want nobody to kill me, but I used to think everybody who voted for Donald Trump or liked him was like racist. Like,
You don't think that anymore?
I don't think all of them, right?
Mm.
So I think people who vote for him, some of the people, maybe even more than half, are voting for taxes. They are people who got money and they voting to lower their taxes, and they're willing to hear any shit or see him do anything because of taxes. Then the other ones is the guys behind him going USA, USA, which really means we will kill you, motherfuckers. Go Donald. Like, I mean, I just can't think that the whole half of the country is racist.
So let me tell you why I can think that. Okay. All right.
Oh,
You're in one or two camps, right? If you voted for Donald Trump, either you're a racist or you're okay with racism. So I don't know if you're the ones that's okay with it. That makes you just as bad as the people who are actually racist.
oh yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Uh, it's the only reason why, you know what I mean, it's time for him to go because we've been watching, like you said, a shit show, or like my accountant calls it. My accountant, every time we do our taxes, he said, yo, this is a real clusterfuck. This is, this is a real clusterfuck. And I'm, what? It's a shit show, a clusterfuck, right?
Yeah.
And, and so I say to myself, hey, man, I make enough money for this guy to save taxes, but I'm tired of this guy. Like, I can't. I've never seen nobody like this man with energy like this man.
Well, you know what? While we're on the taxes, it's funny because the majority of people I hear say that are not people like you, right? Who, if you said it, it would make sense because
Sharon
I know
Stone, Sharon Stone is on our live right
I
now.
saw that. What's up, Sharon
I
Stone? Big
love you,
fan.
Stone, and I love how you cross the legs. And what's the movie she did that to
Big
the
Basic Instinct. You know what?
Woo!
You ain't right, man. You ain't right.
Baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. So here's the thing. Whenever I hear, I've heard some, black folks talk about, well, better for the taxes. And most of them ain't got the kind of money where like anything he does would remotely impact your life. Okay. The other part of it is, look, I'll be completely honest. My taxes were actually better under Obama. They actually were.
Oh,
Because understand that, like, now maybe I'm not up in the 1% like y'all. My shit was way better under Obama.
no. I'm up in the 1%. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, you in the 1%. I'm in like the 25.
Much as I hate this guy, I am in the 1% and I save taxes. But who cares?
Right.
Get him off the screen, man. Like, get him off to say. I believe that this guy is like a weird scientist. Like, while we sleeping at 3 in the morning, he's thinking of some shit to just fuck us up as soon as we wake up. 7 in the morning, you turn on the TV, like, oh, now this? Like, this guy, yo, this guy's crazy, man.
So I guess when you asked me like how I felt about everything that was happening, as I said, it's funny how the people who have been never considered by this democracy are the ones that most hold it accountable. And my other thought is I do have a level of frustration with white people in particular because they're the whole reason we're in this. And maybe that's not the most politically correct thing to say. And I'm using data when I say this. Okay, if you have more than 50% of white people who support Donald Trump, white people make up 70% of the electorate, right? So it's the majority of them. Even with the increased support of Trump by black men, by black women, by Cubans, by certain Latino communities, even with that increased support, that doesn't make up for the fact that white people are the whole reason he got elected in 2016. White people are the whole reason that as of now, we don't know who our president is. Okay. And we just spent months having all these conversations about race and about, white people after George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery coming to black and brown communities saying, what can we do? How can we help? How can we be allies? We went through this whole song and dance for months. They asked us that question. All of us answered truthfully about what they can do to be allies. And as soon as the election came upon us, what did they do? And so that's why I'm frustrated.
They voted. They voted for the man. And Cubans historically always vote for the Republican.
They do.
And I don't understand. It's pretty much the majority of Cubans are Republican. I'm half Cuban, and half Puerto Rican. So the only Latino race I believe that really just goes and votes Republican is Cuban. And they felt like many years ago, John F. Kennedy, who was a Democrat, let them down at the Bay of the Pigs.
Yep.
And stubborn, and they're never gonna get over that, and they're gonna keep voting for Republicans. And so that's our punishment. The reason why I thought he would win, Biden would win Florida, is because in Florida, in Orlando, there was a surge of Puerto Ricans who left Puerto Rico because Hurricane Maria. So I thought finally we could turn Florida. I live in Miami. Finally, we could turn Florida around, but not the case. It's still Trump country. But
and if I may say one thing, Joe, is that about Cubans, what you said about Kennedy is completely true. The other part is Republicans are really good at weaponizing Cuban trauma against them. And by that, I mean, because of what happened in Cuba, anytime the word socialism is uttered, it triggers Cubans for very good reasons. And they were able to put out a misinformation campaign about Joe Biden, about Kamala Harris, and just the Democratic Party in general by associating them with socialism.
I know communism is in Cuba, but when it sounds stupid to me when I see movies from the 1960s and they're like, he's a commie, he's a social. Like, I'm like, yo, my man, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, we not going for that shit. Like, who in the U.S. really believes socialism, communism is happening here? Just like, don't know what he's trying to do, right? I don't know what he's trying to do, but this is dictatorship in the making. Democracy. We spread democracy all over the world. And it looks like this guy is trying to, because he lost. It's selfish that, hey, Donald, I know you upset. You worked hard for the reelection. If you lost, handle it. Like Hillary handled it. Everybody else, Gore handled it. Like, why are you trying to act like, yo, I'll take this whole shit down with me if I lost? No, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I made a joke on Twitter. I said, man, I hope they got a security deposit from Trump because he looked like he gonna burn that bitch down when he leave.
Yo, I don't get it because he's up there and he's using terrible words like fraud and you know they stealing the elect and you know there's guys who's like real impressionable out there with big machine guns that listen to this guy and you know we're hoping it doesn't. You seen the people banging on the doors of the people counting the votes. Now those was just normal white people. Yeah, yeah. What happens when the guys with the bulletproof vest is fatter than Fat Joe with the big machine guns and AR? What happens when those guys come?
Well, they in Arizona, they came, and that's why they had to shut things down last night. Is that some of those they because Arizona is an open carry state, and so when they came to Maricopa County to the voting center where they were tabulating the votes, that's the situation the police and the sheriffs face, and it's just you know we know the obvious hypocritical. Thing here is like it's funny how white people can just arm up and just walk around the police somehow are not scared for their lives when they got 20. They surrounded by 20 white motherfuckers with an AR-15. They ain't scared then. But a black person blinked too hard, and all of a sudden they want to put 50 bullet holes in them.
It's sad because we are traumatized as people. And I seen a funny little thing that Baller Alert put up today on Instagram, but it's really sad. So a black guy and a white guy is online to go into like a restaurant. And you know how they got the thing to check your forehead for COVID?
Yeah, yeah.
Security went like this to the black guy. The black guy was like, you know, he thought he had the hammer. Like, he was like, you know, like, and he was like, oh, no, no. And then he did it. And then he did it to the white guy. The white guy was like,
Of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nobody shoves guns in our face, you know. We just scooted a little right through. And it's traumatizing. This whole shit is traumatizing. And I'm hoping the right thing happens. If Joe Biden legitly won, let him become president, him and Kamala Harris, and let's just try to live in unity. And let's try to heal the wounds. Let's try to reach out to everybody and just, because we are the United States of America, and just get over this terrible time, because this is a real dark time in American history.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that easy because the problem with what's happened the last 4 years is that a lot of ugliness has really been exposed. You know, a lot of white people have frankly shown their whole ass, and a lot of people who we thought were allies or who we thought, you know, there's so many. You talk to a lot of black and brown people, and I hear so many stories about how like, man, I thought such and such was cool, and then I found out this once Trump got in office when they felt a little more bold and brave, and so. I don't know if it's going to be that easy. I think we're still going to be polarizing, and we can't make the mistake of assuming just because Donald Trump loses, the element that got him in there, the element that supported him is going to go scurrying back to their holes. They're not. They're going to probably be even bolder.
It's always been there. You know, it's crazy because historically, where I have confronted racism, besides, you know, growing up in the Bronx and police, but it's in first class in the airlines. No. I want to write a book about this shit. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, it got to be called first class. And I don't know how it works if I sit in the first, if I'm in row 1A and I'm in first class like everybody else. First of all, everybody that's in first class think they're the king of somewhere or the queen of somewhere. The girl got the poodle. Man, like you in first class acting like you're the king of the plane, right? And you sit down, and when it's time to get the food, Usually they start in the front, but now I'm in the front. Me and my brother Rich, my Haitian brother sitting next to me, they want to start row 6 and come back down to row 1 to take the orders of the food.
I have never seen that.
This happened to me 1,000 times in my life.
What?
1,000. This is not 100. This ain't 200. This is 1,000. I almost could bet if I could bet if I had a bookie next to me, this is gonna happen. And they go to the back, they take all the orders, then they say, "Hey, sir, we have a cheese plate." I'm like, "Well, what would I have gotten if I was in the back in number 6 in the rotation?" They went, "Well, that's roast beef with Grey Poupon on the side." Or you would have had the chicken option. But you, my friend, have the cheese. Would you care for the cheese? That shit has happened to me 1,000 times. And that little bit right there is where I see uh, glimmers of racism, right? Where they could just do it how they do it. And it runs deeper than that. But you would think with Obama being elected, you would think with you being on mainstream TV, you would think with the way, blacks and Latinos have contributed overwhelmingly positive to American culture, that somehow it would have simmered down the racism. And what scares me is that here we are all these years later and it feels like it's brand new.
It's a different kind of racism maybe our parents and grandparents face, but it's nevertheless still stinging. The problem is that just think about the course of history. History, I swear, is our greatest teacher and our greatest predictor of the future. And everything that's happening in this moment has been explained in history. And even though it's kind of depressing, but I think about during the civil rights movement and how the fact that all of the things that we're still talking about now, the level, equality, voting rights. I mean, and think about Martin Luther King, he marched for voting rights, John Lewis, and we're still trying to get a free and fair election for people of color.
The
That's
same
crazy,
thing.
right? And so the other
By
part we have to have.
the way, I hate to cut you off,
Mm.
and they tell me, Joe, you always talk over your guests, but you spark something. I started the show with the message, Grandmaster Flash. That's probably the first big hit record in hip hop and the first conscious hit ever. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder.
How I keep them going under.
So that's in the South Bronx where I grew up, where it looked like a war zone. Every building was burnt. It was burnt down. It was rubble. So when you look at the video, it's fucking burnt down in the 70s. But the craziest shit about this video is at the end, they got harassed by the cops of the video. The cops threw them up and locked them up for no reason. They were rapping in front of the building. And so that's the same exact shit happening in 2020. It's amazing that it's the same shit going on.
Yeah, I mean, racism is very tricky because it keeps reinventing itself. And the thing is, like, the things that we're seeing now, these are not new, and that's also kind of the shame of it. If you listen to Donald Trump and you listen to Richard Nixon, if I gave you a blind taste test, they sound like the same dude. I mean, that message of white fear, fear mongering, making white people think that we were coming for them, that has been a message forever. And the fear that I think that white people have is all based off the fact that this demographic, this population change is about to shift, where they're going to be the minority. And what they fear the most is that we're going to do to them what they've done to us. And even though we've never done that, right? We've never done that. And unfortunately, that's why Black and brown progress is so threatening for white people. Is there are plenty of examples. They like to give us this pull up butt by the bootstrap speech. That's what they give us all the time, right? They can take as many handouts as they want, but we get that speech, all right? So every time we do that, every time we try to advance and progress, they try to burn that shit down. Black Wall Street, perfect example, right? There's plenty of examples of that happening of when we try to be a self-reliant community, stick to our own, do for our own, improve our own communities. Here white people come to ruin all the shit. Because it's never been about, for them, it has been about our subjugation. It has been about our oppression. That's as they say, that's the feature, not the bug. And so, because that's never gone away, because white supremacy has existed literally since the beginning of this country, we unfortunately, it's a fight that we have to face. Our children will probably face, and their children will have to face. We just have to be vigilant and understand that, as what was it, Martin Luther King Jr. that said, is the arc of justice bends slowly, it will eventually bend. It just takes a while.
Yeah, it will, because the demographics, when you see people marching out there, I say this all the time, saying Black Lives Matter, but they're white, they're Asian, they're Latino. This country is real diverse and it's really mixing. And so you might have the whitest person out there marching, but her grandkids are black, like black. And so she out there like, not my babies. We ain't going for that. So the country, the true identity of there's nothing purely pure. So like you got Fat Joe is Puerto Rican and Cuban. If we did your ancestry.com, you'd probably be half Caribbean, half it's nothing like what they think it is, white pure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody's integrating and everybody's grown with each other, that at the end of the day, that you're not going to be able to get away with that shit 50 years from now, because the whole dynamic, the whole look of the country is going to be different. I just think we have to cut an edge of letting them know, listen, we're not dumb, because I be looking at tapes a lot now. I'll be looking at a lot of stuff of the 70s, preferably the 70s, right? So I go back there and I look at my Puerto Rican people, my black people. They actually wasn't that intelligent or articulate, at least at that time. Like you could tell they just wanted whatever. Scrap. We just want a job. We want, and now when you sit down and you see, I'm not talking about the elite. I'm not talking about Malcolm X or, orators, Cornel West and stuff like. I'm just talking about your average person wasn't as smart as they are now.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying.
So it bothers me when I look at the tapes and I see some Puerto Rican people talking to some black people, and I'm like, damn, you know what he wanted to say, but he ain't really know how to say it.
I don't. It's funny you say that, because I wonder, are we getting smarter? I don't know that we are. And the reason I know that we have all this technology, all this information at our disposal, but the one thing that is truly a significant factor, and I think the cultism around Trump kind of explains this, is that, yeah, knowledge is power, but knowledge is also a weapon. And the amount of misinformation, the way we're able to manipulate people through social media is really scary. Because look, a false meme will go through the atmosphere much farther, much deeper, and much wider than the actual truth. And you'll have people believing things, that's why some of these conspiracy theories.
People like beef more than peace.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me, like, right? I grew up my whole life in beef, and now I'm older. All I like to do is spread love.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they prefer beef. And anything that just gives you that scariness. You know what I mean? Anything that signalizes something.
The beef is, created not just by race. The other part that I don't think we know how to fully articulate or understand is that we're a class system, whether we realize it or not. And the ruling class has always been whiteness, because that's the dominant culture. That is what we have established as the standard. And so, like, when people are confused by the fact that we're talking about Cubans supporting Donald Trump, proximity to whiteness in this country means something. And so, like what you were going through on the airplane, what you go through is just as much of a race issue as it is a class issue. In their minds, you look like you don't belong, right?
Mm.
And that's what it is, right? And so we have that, you know, because class, we can be classes in any culture. I mean, because even within Latino cultures, you know, there's a breakdown of colorism. There's colorism in the Black community because that's part of that class mentality that we have of anything proximity to lightness, to whiteness, is what should be dominant, ruling, and what should be considered the standard.
Africa and performed for presidents of Africa, and they was all light skinned, and the dark skinned black guys was outside the tents. Same thing in Haiti. I ain't gonna lie. I've been there. I've been in Haiti, and they paid me a lot of money to perform, and it's all everybody looked like Sean Paul at the party. But the people who really love Fat Joe is outside. And it's the in Haitians, you know what I'm saying, that don't got no money. The colorism is the same shit everywhere. Spanish people too. The Spanish people for so many years in the Spanish TV, Univision, Telemundo, and all that, all we see was white Spanish people with blonde hair and blue eyes, and you never seen a dark-skinned Spanish woman or man on there. It's starting to change more because of, let's say, hip-hop and urban reggaeton culture, where it's finally like, yo, the biggest rapper is dark skin. The biggest reggaeton guy is dark skin. Let's stop lying. Like, you know, and so you know, we're making progress in that way. But class, I know the brokest people on earth that got class, whose mother and father taught them class,
Right.
and they walk around with me right now. You would think that's my rich friend from
Right.
the Bronx, from wherever, but they got class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. There's always levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even, I mean, within our communities, let's just take a look at the incarcerated population, right?
Mm.
Um, you know, a lot of us know people who've either been in prison or out or have at some point had some jail time. The way we treat them, right? Exactly. The way we treat people who have been incarcerated is part of the reason why it's been so easy to um, oppress them, to subjugate them, to treat them inhumanely. We're in a society where we're okay with how we treat people who, because everybody in this country has committed a crime. Basically, everybody of some kind. You have driven drunk, you have smoked some weed, you have
Every
done something.
time. And,
Everybody's
and
done it. Right?
like my man who was locked up with me, his wife was a school teacher, and she killed someone while she was drunk, and she wound up doing 5 years. She was a school teacher. You know, anybody could commit a crime,
Yeah.
knowing or not. I went to jail for taxes. I have committed, Fat Joe, so many crimes in my lifetime. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I actually went to jail for something I didn't do. The accountant my shit up. He wasn't paying my shit up. I proved to them wire transfers that I was sending it to him. He ain't paying my shit. They said, you as the leader of your household is responsible for whoever you hire. Right? And so, but I've done horrific things in my life. I'm not proud of. But everybody has done a crime and anybody can get locked up. The easiest thing you could get at any point is locked up or die. That's the shit you could do any morning you walk out your house. I dare you to walk to the corner store, punch the Dunkin' Donuts guy in the face. You will be in jail. You will be in jail. Free.
Now imagine if you weren't Fat Joe, how people would treat you. And I'm sure you get some of that anyway. But if you weren't who you were, given some of the transgressions you've done, imagine how people would treat you. And so when I read about the conditions,
Meaning, what do you mean? Elaborate further.
oh, meaning that like it, given the fact that you know you have been to jail.
Nice because I'm Fat Joe, like to some point.
Yeah, what I'm saying is this: that if
Yeah, I will beg anyone to prove to me that they got their ass beat more than me by police.
oh no, I mean
Yeah. I'm writing a book of my life. There's a whole chapter of ass whippings for no reason in forest projects by the police.
but
And
that was
we,
before you were Fat Joe, though.
yeah, before I was even Fat Joe, these people, you know, they get a good. Sometimes it's like you. To you, we a hero. You talking all this white shit, you might get around the wrong circle. the Hall of Fame of writers, and they're like, "Fuck her!" Like, you hear this shit she be
And
saying?
they say that anyway, man. It's what
But
it is.
it's the gift and the curse.
Yeah,
So it's the same way. Like my kids might get spoiled, but then when they go to school, they might have problems because they're Fat Joe's kids.
that's true.
Somebody, the teacher and all that, oh, you think you, and they don't really think it, but just, you could also get punished for being successful or being someone famous. It
Yeah,
works both ways. So we
that's true.
got to put it like this. Most restaurants Fat Joe goes to, and Fat Joe been famous a long time. Most restaurants, they go, "Hey, Mr. Joe," and they walk me right in, even if it's crowded. Last week, I went to Houston's with my brother Rich, and they made me wait about an hour and 15 minutes. And just because I was Fat Joe. You sit your fat ass down right there, just stinking fat ass. Sit down, and we going to skip everybody. And if you want that spinach dip, your ass going to wait. I'm telling you. I went to a restaurant one time. It's called, and it's fucked up, but it was a horrible day. It was Valentine's Day. But, like you said, I'm privileged. I woke up with my wife, and they were like, "Yo, it's sold out. You gotta wait like 4 hours." Right? And it was people there. I looked to the left. It's my word. LeBron James was there with his wife waiting too. This is when he was Miami's star. So, and it wasn't just, I don't know if it was racism, but I know they had Fat Joe and LeBron James waiting for like an hour to get seated. But it was Valentine's Day.
Ugh.
Crowded days, but it's pretty crazy. It's it's the gift and the curse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to suggest that things are necessarily. Some things might be easier for you. Some things might not be. My whole point was just that when it comes to people who have had brushes with the law, black and brown people in particular, we treat them a certain way, which is partly a class issue, is what I'm talking about.
What are you saying?
So what I'm saying is this: when we were talking about race versus
Your
class,
cousin who went to jail, we act funny with him, is what you saying?
yeah, I'm saying that like a lot of times we treat them like an underclass, right? And that, that's why I think a lot of the abuses that they suffer in prison, the fact that when they come out, it's difficult for them to get jobs and just to be reintegrated in society is a class issue because some of us think we're better than them, even though most of us have committed some kind of crime. We just haven't been caught. That's sometimes the only difference between us and somebody who's in jail. They got caught and we didn't.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it's sad. And those are the people, brothers and sisters, we gotta embrace more because
Correct.
I against them. They want to change their life. You know how many of my friends, that's Nori. Nori, I'm on live. How many of my friends I've seen come out of jail, said they were going to change their lives, and went to place looking for jobs and trying to get help, or trying to get help, and after a while, they never could get that job, and then they wind up going back to the streets. I mean, there's been the history of people of color not having those opportunities. So when they say jail reform or prison reform, or that's where we really, really need to unite and help these people so that when they come out here, they don't feel hopeless when they're trying to change. We should be there for them when they're trying to change. And and as far as people who got locked up, they need to want to make a change while they're in there. While they're in there, start progressing. We got a living legend who came home. His name is Guy Fisher. I don't know if you know who he is. He's from the Bronx.
Mm.
And living legend. He owned the Apollo. He's a kingpin, but he ain't snitch. He He meets the higher standards of being a real guy, right?
Okay.
And you know, I ain't gonna lie, I've been trying to interview him. And he said, Brother Joe, I love you. I would like to meet you. And when I do interview, it's not gonna be about this gangster shit. It's gonna be how I became a doctor in prison.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so you could use that time smart and wise. Like you should use that time that you're sitting down. Because when we out here, we moving around so much chasing money or check
Hmm.
to check, trying to do whatever, that we can't, you know, that while you in there, it's really the only time you can sit down, you know. So I found myself in jail for 4 months, and I said, well, there's a reason God put me in here. And I sat down and made a plan.
Mm.
And I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try, you know, because I'm going to try to do this. I got beef with 50 Cent and Jay-Z. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to squash it.
Right.
Because you don't know what doors might open, because there's people who can't do business with me because they're friends with Jay or they're friends with 50 Cent. But now
Yeah.
we squash.
Right.
And you know, when I do get hot, because you need to get hot. You know, ain't nobody fucking with you if you ain't hot.
Right. Right.
Meditated. I was praying on God that all the way up or any one of them records blew like that, so I could take advantage of the opportunity. This time I had the plan. Had
Mm.
I sat down for 4 months, I wouldn't have had the plan to be where I'm at now.
Well, you know what they say, that sometimes God does things to get your attention
Every time.
every time, right?
Every time. And it's crazy because before I went to jail, I think I was like 41. Before I went to jail, I thought I was 22. So, like, I've been hot for 20 something years, Jemele. So I go, I sit in the couch, I pop champagne. We act like, you know, sit in the couch, we pop champagne, we acting like we young. We don't even know we 40 years old. No, I swear to God. And I'm in jail, and a young dude comes up and says, yo, OG. I said, yo, what's up? He was like, yo, you gonna join the league? They just made a 40 and over league. I'm like, 40 and over? Who the fuck you talking to? Like, well, I'm really 41 or 42, right? I'm like 40 and over. Fuck you. I went in the cell. I said, I look in the mirror. I said, holy shit. You 42 and they know it. You're lying. You're lying like you're 22. They know you. They know. They know you 22, and you're 41. And I'm like, damn. I got so offended, but that closed the window even more. Not in the negative way. It just said, yo, Joe, you got to get to that bag now, bro.
Right. Right.
You got to get to that bag now. Like, this shit got to happen now. Like, and you better have your shit straight. And and the one thing I could tell kids, not kids, teenagers or 20 years old or whatever, I was just talking to Khaled about this shit in this backyard today. Me and my brother had some real talk, you know, reminiscing. We so blessed. But we was thinking about when we was coming up, and he was telling me about him DJing Jamaica, this and this and that. And I said, the best advice I could tell somebody, because anybody I know that got rich, real rich, got rich from like 45 to 55. You know, by then you pretty much done, right? My
Right.
advice to young entrepreneurs is get very serious about owning your shit and getting some real money when you 25, 28 to 35. That way you enjoy all your money. When you turn 40, you're already caked up, and you just 40 to 50 live your life. Just do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait till you get old. You know what I'm saying? And that's not it. That's not
But
it.
my grandmother used to say something that stayed with me, and it's true. Youth is wasted on the young. And that's why she said that. Because if you think about it, Joe, by the time you actually got some real sense, not just sense, a lot of us had common sense younger.
Yeah.
We just didn't have any wisdom. There's a difference between common sense and wisdom. And so by the time you get actual wisdom, you know, from a physical standpoint, from an energy standpoint, you don't have what you used to have. Because when you were in your 20s, you blew all your energy doing stupid shit, right? For the most part, where you should have been buckling down and doing what you
But
had to do.
we don't be knowing that. That's why I'm trying to
Yes.
tell them now. Yo, listen, if you get into the bag, save. If you get to the bag, invest in businesses. Buy properties, buy whatever you businesses you're going to invest in. If you're inventing a product, do it now. You do not want to wait till you get 40 something, 50 years old to get the bag. You need to do it now. I'm telling you right now, your life, your seriousness of your life should start 25 to 35. And if you
Mm.
do it and you get successful like that, boy, you're going to live an amazing life.
I mean, I would add to that because a lot of us, you know, I was a journalism major in part because I couldn't do math. So like, so like business is not necessarily my thing. But if you're in the creative field, like, you know, I'm a content creator. That's what I do. Uh, Own your own content, right? So you
Mm.
may not have to, you don't have to, maybe it's not your testimony to own 20 laundromats or real estate or a franchise of some Arby's or McDonald's. But if you have content that you produce, always make sure you're in an ownership position, that you have leverage. Because even though I've been a journalist now for 20 years, I became a lot better journalist when I became a lot better businesswoman, when I figured out how to own my own content. And when people ask me about leaving ESPN and what that was like and what that did for my career, it did a lot of wonderful things for my career because when I was at ESPN, I was an employee. Now I own 3 companies. Okay. That's the difference between being at ESPN and not being at ESPN because of my production company, you know, my podcast, I own that. You know, it's like because of those things, I'm able to be a content creator and have ownership over what I do.
Boss.
Yeah.
Still, I've been independent maybe 15 years, right? And I pay my own videos, I pay my own staff, I pay my own radio, I pay my own this. And uh they have these like seminars. Hey Nicole, how you sa? Hi Rosita. So they have they have these seminars where radio people come, people who are programmers of radio stations. The more I'm trying to say to you is one day I went to one in Atlantic City and Timberland's in there, Rita Ora, a bunch of stars, Rihanna, bunch of people was in that little party that the industry throws for the programmers. Thank you for playing our music. I walk in there and they almost pick me up in the air and throw me in the air like Joe, 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 but all these guys are more famous than me, but they acting different towards me. And the difference is, with no disrespect, these are artists. Fat Joe pays the bills.
Mm.
The Fat Joe put my kid through college. Fat Joe came through, so they're not picking me up because I'm better than anybody in there. I'm actually not. But they're like, oh, he's a boss.
Yeah. You're a check writer.
I'm a check writer. This guy check. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference when you own your business and you're an employee. I want to ask you, last question I want to ask you, and thank you for being on here, is basketball season. Shout out my brother Ro Parrish. Basketball season comes back December 22nd. Are you excited? Is this the shortest championship? Like LeBron, they didn't let him. I used to think they loved LeBron. When he came to the league, they was like the king ahead of time. I think they're like cheating him out of his suntan. You know, you win the chip, you got to sit down in the sun, bask in the sun, rub it in their face. They get into it right quick. Like, and you know, the day you get back on that court, that championship means shit. You gotta win another one.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a really interesting NBA season. One, we don't know where we're going to be with this pandemic. I know there's a little bit of a fight going on between the players union and the league about when to actually start the next season. Because I think the NBA would like to try to have some fans, but we're just not in a position as a nation where we can do that because these owners want to get some revenue. You know, that bubble was great. I enjoyed it just because it had that, NCAA tournament field.
The bubble was
Yeah.
flawed. It was the best shit ever done. And I'm
It,
hearing they saying they want to open the stadiums, but
yeah.
not fans. And people are going to catch COVID when they do that.
Yeah, I mean, if they open, they can only do it like some NFL stadiums have been able to do it, which is opening it maybe at 10% capacity. But here's the other problem. This election, it's been so overwhelming that we haven't paid attention. I don't think people have really paid attention to what's happening in the NFL right now. It is several COVID outbreaks on teams right now. And when you don't have a bubble, then you are going to see that in the NBA where DMP COVID, okay? And unlike a basketball team, if you missing one dude, depending on who that dude is, that could change your whole season. And so I think it's going to be
I'm
a much more difficult time.
praying Rondo, none of them catch the COVID. Like in the finals, I was like, yo, all we need to do is hear some major one of them got the COVID. Like, that's it. They can't play. It was so fragile. At that, people ain't realize we watching the game and everything in life we take for granted and we just like, oh, we playing. If one of them would have caught the COVID, AD, God forbid, or something, that changed the whole dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, and so if the NBA is going to go forward with a somewhat of a regular season, that's going to be a very real fear and danger because guys are going to be able to go home. Exactly.
They're gonna, they're
Yep.
gonna. I mean, it's so crazy. I just took a COVID test right now. Thank God I passed it. Me and Rich,
Was that your first one?
no, if I have dinner, I go take a COVID
I
test.
know. I was like, I'm on number 8. I took
For
one this
sure.
morning too.
I go from my house to here to my mother's house. If I go to dinner, in fact, I went to dinner the other night and my wife was like, yo, tell that boy take that COVID test. Yo, we take it that serious, but I'm pre-diabetic, so I could go from it. You understand what I'm saying? So I gotta really, really take it serious. Pretty much I gotta be paranoid. But it's
Yeah.
for the best. Conspiracy theory, Joe. I'm not really into conspiracy theories. But conspiracy theory, Joe, thinks or hopes maybe all this COVID was like, it's real, but maybe it was big for the election. And now that whoever wins will get this vaccine or this motherfucker just mysteriously go away somewhere.
All right. So here's the thing about the vaccine, right? Is that I saw a medical expert say this. I've seen a couple actually. It takes 15 years for a vaccine to work its way through society. Now, remember we was coming up and we all got shots and all that thing. You know how long it took to get to that point where we sitting there getting the shot for rubella and mumps and all that?
Yeah, people died too. Let me ask
Yes.
you, Jemele, here on the show, I ask everybody, they can't escape,
Mm.
who's your top 5 rappers of all time?
Okay,
And
that's fine.
that don't get to do with this. So it's your top 5 of all time, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. All right. So everybody knows that often this depends on mood. So generally, I have the same names. I might throw another one. I have like a top 7, and I just rotate those 5. So Black Thought, um, Nas, Jay-Z, Ice Cube, and Biggie.
Wow. Believe it or not, Black Thought, being that he's underground, he's come up a lot. He's in Royce the 5'9's top 5. He's in a couple of guys, I think Big Sean top 5. Black Thought he's amazing. He's amazing. Nas, but that's a great top 5. top 5 basketball. It doesn't have to be point guard to
Right. Just
our
period.
yeah 5.
Okay. Isaiah Thomas. Realize I'm from Detroit. All right. Isaiah, Kobe, um, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Ooh.
I want people to understand this. I'm answering this as my favorite 5. Okay, that's different than top 5 all time. That's a different way to look at it. Like it's top 5 all time. It'd be like, for me, it'd be like Kobe, Jordan, Magic. That's a different type of top 5. I'm going my favorite 5. All right. So as I said, Isaiah, Kobe, Akeem, Magic, and I'm gonna say to watch. I'm going my top 5 to watch. I'm gonna say LeBron.
I put up a picture the other day. It was AI, it was Kobe, it was LeBron, it was Shaq. Man, who else was on that motherfucker I threw up? I mean, that's my top 5.
Yeah. Now I see a lot of people in the comments. They're like Jordan, Jordan, Jordan. Michael Jordan to me is the greatest
That's
basketball.
the MJ, LeBron, Kobe, AI, and Shaq. I'm
Mm.
taking it against the fucking world.
Now, if you want me to build a top 5 to take on the world, that's a different question. Okay. All right. That's a different question.
You know,
Okay.
Thomas, God bless Zeke, when he coached the Knicks, he would meet up. This is a Joker moment, guys. He would meet up with me in the Bronx, Harlem. This is why he's coaching the Knicks. And, at the time I used to coach the Rucker. So he kind of like somehow respected my skills. And, I'm the greatest coach in Rucker history, right?
All right, real quick, Joe, real quick. I gotta tell people because you and I coached the celebrity game at ESPN, and
Oh,
we washed that team like
they
Joe.
never
Nobody,
come again.
right?
It's not entertaining.
Right.
We destroy these people.
We destroyed them. Like you had everybody in order, and the reason, honestly, the reason we won is because we had the WNBA players. That we had what's my girl's name? Gosh, we had Lindsay Whalen. Lindsay Whalen took that shit seriously. She was
Yo,
not playing.
had this old like Mexican guy. I don't know who he is. He must
Yeah,
have been.
I know the dude, our center. I can't remember his
He
name.
was
Yeah,
killed with the knee wrapped up.
with the knee wrap. Yeah.
Yo, we killed these people, man. They never asked us again. We're
Yeah,
like, they didn't want us to coach.
they did. But go ahead, continue with your story about Zeke.
He used to come, true story, and when he had Zach Randolph, Stephon, all them playing, and he would be like, yo, Joe, man, like, what the fuck is up? Like, I went and got Randolph, I got this. Like, I can't believe these guys ain't winning. And I used to talk to him and be like, yo, if they play together, because the team he was coaching, I
It
don't
was
remember,
good.
it was a great team.
It was a good team.
Unselfish, they would have won some shit. Maybe not a chip, but they would have been way more competitive. But he used to, he's a good dude, man. I used to sit down with him in the car and kick it with him and be like, yo, I think this and this and that. I appreciated that he respected my opinion.
Yeah, Zeke was my favorite player growing up because when I was growing up in Detroit, the Pistons they won in '89 and '90. So when they beat the Lakers, and then they beat the Portland Trailblazers the next year. So he was my favorite player. So he's gonna always be in my top 5.
So Zeke is your favorite Detroit Piston ever.
Oh, hands down. And that's no disrespect to Joe Dumars, but Isaiah Thomas when he got yeah.
Uh uh I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Zeke would have to be the best one, but I'm really thinking Chauncey Billups. Like, is
He was no
no,
Zeke. And I love Chauncey. Chauncey is my dude. But I
not
saw Zeke from, he, look,
yeah,
I know,
Rip
I'm,
Chauncey. I'm going Rip and Chauncey,
mm-hmm.
but Isaiah was probably the best Detroit Piston ever. He was.
It's no problem. He was he was dog. He was. Look, here's the thing. I remember when Zeke got drafted by the Pistons. All right, we talking about 81, 82. Man, that dude. When people go back and look at his games, this is no disrespect to Allen Iverson either. Everybody calls Allen Iverson the best player under 6 feet ever. I'm sorry, his name's Isaiah Thomas.
I disagree.
I know.
Now, no, I say he's the best Detroit, and he's one of the greatest legends of all time. Nobody better than AI. Nobody. AI, man, this guy would cross people over, score 50 points, fall down, get up. He was a one-man machine. No disrespect to everybody who played with him. They never put a team around AI. If they would have put a team around AI at his prime, he would have won some chips. He was a one-man army. There's nobody. Put it like this. I took whoever you name, Kobe Bryant, okay? Kobe Bryant went to the Rucker. Unfortunately, it rained. And Kobe went to work, okay? Like, he had maybe like 12 points in 2.5 minutes. Like he went crazy on them, right? But they was D'ing him up. So he had dudes trying to, like, yo, they didn't believe Kobe. And Kobe still scored 12, like in 2 minutes, right? I watched Kevin Durant score like 80 points one game out there. He's the best I ever seen out there, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the whole team D'd him up. They wanted to check him. I brought AI out there. No one would D him up. No one.
What?
No one ever D'd him up. No one said they just backed up and ain't want to look stupid. It actually was so easy we had to bring them all out the game. Like, yo, AI, come on. This ain't even fun. Just root for the teams. Because he was coming down like, and they was like running away scared to death. Like, nobody wanted to get posterized at the Rucker. Nobody wanted to cross over, fall on their face, fall on the stands. And so they wouldn't even D them up.
That is an amazing amount of respect, especially to get that in New York.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We love you. We love what you do. Thank you for coming on the big show.
Anytime.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for the real talk.
All right. Appreciate it, Joe. Take care.
You don't know who I know. You don't know who I know. You seen Jemele talking that real shit. Nobody fuck with. Yo, Nori, why you calling me while I'm on the air? You in San Tropez. You in Costa Rica. Where you at? With the Turks and Caicos, drinking the Lambada, and you blowing up my show, man. When you on Drink Champs, I ain't blowing up your show. Finesse, what's up? Let me tell you something, right? I've always loved talking. Pharrell would come and invite me to the studio just to hear stories, usually about Diamond D. Kanye West would call me up and say, please, Joe, come to the studio. Tell me some stories. Tell me some stories. I've been talking shit as long as I know. Just like sports, I feel like one of the natural progressions is if you played the game of hip hop, you can become a legit commentator. Now, my brother Nori had Drink Champs with EFN. I was actually the first guest on his show. I am never in my life will or won't be competition with my brother Nori. And I just want people to know that because he's one of my most loved friends, best friends on the planet Earth. It's not like I seen Nori do it and I wanted to do a podcast too. That's never been the intentions. And I talk about different things that Nori talks about. So I want y'all to know that, right? I hate when people think, damn, his man was doing that and he didn't. That's not true. There's room for everybody to do their thing. and all I do is commentating, and I do politics, I do sports, I do music as well, I do fashion. So just know that. Um, Hold up, let me see. I got another guest, guy. Let me see. Yes, sir. So I thought today I get two guests, even though Jemele, me and her, we talked longer than I thought we was. Hopefully my brother's here. Very good friend of mine, family. Uh, Yo, guy, I'm requesting you, guy. Uh, my brother, who's one of the leaders in hip hop fashion. Any outfit you ever see Biggie in, Big Pun, Fat Joe, DJ Khaled, uh, historical, when you seen Biggie on the cover of the 9/11 with the Twin Towers, he did that. Hey, guy, somebody see Guy 5001 on here? This is exactly what I mean about switching up everything and doing some different shit. And so, yo, Guy, I'm sending a request. Yo, Guy, I'm hitting 5001 Flair. I got Iron Woods.
Yo,
You got you haircut for me, man. Ain't that?
yeah.
Yo, Guy, let me
You
start
see
by
the
saying,
yo B? You see the TS haircut? Yeah.
everybody gonna get the TS haircut, right? Let me start by saying to you, you're my brother, and I love you. I love your family. I'm honored to be your friend, and and I don't talk to you every day,
Right.
and I realize that whenever I needed anybody to talk to, you've always been there for me.
True. My brother, love you.
I want you to know that.
Respect.
Yo, Guy, it's time. Uh, you are Black excellence. You are Harlem's finest. Let's keep it real. Harlem Haberdashery got the townhouse. Dapper Dan puts the town. Oh man, yo, Guy, what happened, man? Come back, Guy. I just want to explain this story so you people can all know about 5001. And you've been seeing their gear in all the videos and all the concerts and everywhere. They've been making us fly for so many years. Where's Guy at? His shit. He got that bootleg. He got that Teddy Riley. Yeah, your Guy, comment. Guy Woods, boy. This is legendary, man. Your Guy Woods, where you at? Hold on, let me see. There you go. They can't stop greatness, Guy.
Yo, what's up, B? Yo,
Guy, got
you
that
know
Teddy
it's rough
Riley.
up here, B.
Yo, yeah, I was getting
I'm
sent to
on 3G, B.
you on 3G?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember Corona started and the hood was trying to say it's 5G network.
Yeah. Yes.
They be getting me sick with they shit, man. Yo, Guy. So
What's
you
up?
Brownstone, Harlem Haberdashery, where you go and you get fitted. Dapper
Right.
Dan move door,
Right.
living legend. And so you started that brownstone thing,
Yeah.
Black excellence. You got Latino too in you, right?
Yes, yes. I'm part Spanish and black. Half and half.
Spanish like what?
Puerto Rican.
So you Puerto Rican and black.
Yes, Puerto Rican and black. My mother's Spanish, my father's black.
I never knew that Carcanay is Costa Rican.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
Costa Rican.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the first urban line, right?
True.
So who was your first client, guy, in the hip hop business?
Oh man. I would say that would have been Prince Marky D from the
Don't
Fat Boys. Yeah. Yeah. I met him with Corey Rooney in the Soul Convention out in Queens. You know what I'm saying? They was doing Mary's first album, and they were producing, and they were doing Mariah Carey. They were doing a lot of things, and I started making his clothes.
Yo, guy, I remember the first suit you got me was for
Mhm.
Tony Evans' wedding. It was a sky blue gaiters and a sky blue hat. I'm
Yeah.
posting a picture. I should have posted today. I swear to God, I'm gonna find the picture and post it. And
Mm-hmm.
you $5,000.
Oh, I think it might have even been 6,500.
Yo, 65. I wanted to commit suicide. Guy.
Yeah.
That's what
Yo,
I was.
but you was fly. You was fly, big.
$dollars, but you was like, yo, it's fly though. You
Yeah.
fly though.
You
Yo,
was fly, big.
it
You
was
was
the
fly.
flyest shit ever.
Yeah.
But oh my God, I couldn't believe we paid so much.
Yo. Mm-hmm.
Outfit Biggie had, you shout out Groovy Lou.
Yes.
Uh, and you, what's the most memorable Biggie outfit you did?
Um.
Some of the most memorables.
Wow. Well, I mean, I like Biggie's silk shirts and his colorful pants. You know what I'm saying? But these were like offbeat joints. These were like for shows. It wasn't really video clothes.
Yo,
One thing about Big, he used to let me do my thing. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, whatever. Peach, your salmon, like, really.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I was in Biggie's house in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
Got the army jacket on with the hoodie, and I
Right.
think first big party that Puff threw, like when Biggie already was out.
Yeah.
And so we're chilling all day. We in army fatigues and shit. And I went to that party that night, and he
Yeah.
had salmon shit on with the
Yeah.
salmon gators.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah.
stuck. Like
Yeah,
I was
nah. One thing of
just in
that
the house.
was Puff's vision. Puff wanted to make him look like a baller, not a street guy, not a corner guy, like, a boss. So that was the formula. And he wasn't scared of colors. You feel me? So when we put him in lavender, we put him in sky blue, and then, you know what I'm saying? He was a big guy, and he had the confidence and the swag, and it was history.
Did you used to have to get the suit and the little hat that
Yeah,
they wears?
yeah. Well, we would start with the shoe. We would get the shoe. I would show him what shoes were available in the colors. So he said, okay, do this first. Do this for Detroit. We're going to do this for Chicago. Then we're going to do this for the Platinum Palladium party. So we would always have our situation together. Puff would say, what is he wearing? And he'd be like, don't tell Puff. Don't tell Puff. And I'm like, yeah, I got to tell Puff.
Yeah, but we do that now. We start off with the sneaker up.
Yes, truly. And that's what it was. So I would get the gator, and then we would work on the silk or the pants or the suiting, whatever it was. The hats, we were getting it dyed, or, we would take Timberlands and dye them. We were just trying to be innovative.
I remember, I know it's not cool to talk about him now, but I remember one time I was sitting with R. Kelly, and the man had like 100 suits.
Yeah.
That's when I knew you was
Nah,
rich.
we didn't. Yeah, no.
No.
One thing about
Like
with R. Kelly.
Suits.
No, I know, but
Y'all
I
made
didn't get to make all those suits. He had a guy out of Chicago that was doing Michael Jordan suits, and he would love this guy too, a little Italian guy. He would come, but his thing was he couldn't deliver as fast as me. You know what I'm saying? And he was in Chicago. So they would try to pair us up to make so he could have it. But ultimately, he was like, yo, just do your thing. Because you can make shit happen that no one else can. I can make a suit in a day. So that's my claim to fame. No one can make a suit in a day.
Yeah,
You
you
know
can
what I'm
do
saying?
it. And I remember
Anything, yeah.
one of the favorite looks I ever saw was R. Kelly and I Can Believe I Could
Oh,
Fly. When
yeah,
you
that was beautiful.
had a white mock
Yeah,
neck.
yeah, that was dope. That was dope.
I went back to you and said, yo,
Yeah,
guy, can you make me this? And you like, yo,
yeah,
that was the fabric I found
yeah, yeah,
at the
yeah.
time.
No, but that shout out to June Ambrose. We worked that project together. And she came up, she was like, yo, I want a zebra coat to the floor and I want snakeskin pants. And I'm like, okay, you know, I made it happen. And then when it hit the screen, it was like, wow. And that shot, like he was on looked like he was on a ladder and they shot down on him. It was beautiful. It was
Uh,
beautiful. But like
Shout out our
I'm a
brother
part of yeah, nah, he's a
Relish.
talent. Oh, Terrell, yeah.
Relish.
Mm-hmm.
You, you know, you got
Yes,
me, you got Big Pun, you got,
yes.
I'm in Khaled's house now. You got Khaled,
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
Terrell,
I got Hassan.
made me and
I got Hassan.
made
Yeah.
on Twins Deep cover, the camouflage
Yes. Oh
leather
yeah, that was dope.
onesie
That was dope. That was dope. That was dope.
for the video.
Yeah.
Like the middle of
Mm-hmm.
little.
Yeah, that was a dope joint. Yo, I love Pun the same reason. He would let me do what I had to do. He was just like, yo, if Joe say you the man, then lace me. You understand me? He would, tell me the concept. No one was scared of color, and that was our edge. Remember, he had the bright silk shirt, the yellow, orange, neon. Yo, he was killing it. He was killing it, and it didn't matter how big he was.
Used to dress him.
Yeah, yeah, nah, that was beautiful.
And you
Remember the video when you holding the umbrella with the 5001 on? Yeah, that was memorable.
oh, that's a classic. The
Yeah, yeah, yes,
5,000.
yes, yes, yes,
That's Boricua Morena that I'm holding the
yeah.
umbrella. And
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar story to Terrell was telling me. We was out in Turks and Caicos for my birthday, and
Right.
we in the pool, and Terrell was like, "Yo," Callie hit me up and was like, "Yo, I want you to be my stylist." And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, how do you know of me? He was like, well, Joe said you the man, so I gotta
Yeah.
have, I
Nah.
gotta feel, so I need you to be my stylist. And so he said, stop. Callie was like, all right. And then Callie said, yo, this is my budget. And Terrell told him, yo, bro, it's a that beat.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. Yo, we've been with Callan a long time, man. Yeah, we've been through so now I see where he at now.
Callie, no, si que está afuera. Okay. Yeah, because you've been making this clothes for all these years. He don't even know who you is still.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty, man. Because he loves the product.
Yeah, you know, Callie
It's not
does.
about me. I
You
can
know,
walk right past him. He won't know.
you know
You
me
know?
at conferences about you. Like he said, this guy, Joe, 5001. Do you charges, man? This guy, what can we do with this guy? I said, yo, I can pay too, Callie.
Yeah.
You want my shit?
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
Callie, you here?
Yeah.
Oh, he's outside. Yo, I mean,
Mhm.
I bet he comes in here, he'll tell you, yo, you cost a lot of money, 5001. And
Oh
I'll tell you
man.
something, for you the Huxtables.
Oh,
Before the
chill,
contract. Hold up.
Before his situation.
Before the situation, I could say that you a real family man and you take
Yeah.
care of your family and you got your son. We always knew he was coming up under you, and he
Mhm.
got the billion name of his company, Mr. Billionaire.
In New York.
Billionaire New
Yeah.
York, and your daughter
Yeah, that's my
wedding
son,
dress.
Guy Jr. Yeah,
God
Brittany
Jr.'s my
Wood, yes. Yeah, nah.
Brittany Woods
Mm-hmm.
wedding
Yeah.
dresses. So it's shout out Shea Woods. It's just a real life
Yeah.
family business.
Yeah, truly.
And
Truly.
for real though,
Yeah,
right?
my
And then you
goal is to leave
Sundays,
something for my children, so they not just money, show them how to get money. You understand me? They all have talents. Let them tap into their talent and show them that we can do this on our own. We don't need no help. We don't have no backing. We don't have nobody but our clients that deal with us. That's it. You
what's the name?
understand me?
The handsome son, the
George,
Chinese
yeah.
looking. What's
Yeah. That's Jordan.
yo,
That's the
yo, that
prince, Jordan.
shout out Leaked, our nephew Leaked. What a good
Yeah, Malik.
finish
Yeah,
college.
great.
But I just always loved that and admired that of you whenever I went to your house and the whole family's there and
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, man, it ain't about how much money we got. It's about how our family is and how we love our family and how we try to set the right example for our family. And
True.
I could, because you've been doing this for so long, been successful. I never really see interviews. I don't see you in the
Yeah.
DVDs.
Nah.
I don't. What? Why you don't do that? Like why? What?
Well, I feel like my work speaks for itself, and I work for you. So I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a guy that's putting the clothes together. I'm behind the scenes. And I'm happy doing that because now I can walk the streets. Nobody's bothering me. Nobody. I might not get a seat at the restaurant, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm not looking for anything but to make my clients happy. That's all. And meet the deadlines. I'm not, I've never been that type of a person. I've always been a low key. When the cameras come, I walk to the side and let people take pictures. So it's very rare that I have pictures. I got pictures with you because you're my brother. But like celebs, I don't do that. I don't ask them for nothing. I don't bother them. I just deliver when they call. And I've always been that way.
Give me some notorious outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Biggie. I'm just saying some outfits that you've done that
Uh-huh.
some might know by looking at their videos or something.
Wow, that's a good question. Master P with all that camouflage and the basketball leather suits,
All that about it.
Yeah, about it. Yeah.
No
About
limit. You
that.
on the whole crew, like
The whole crew.
30,
Yeah, the whole crew.
30.
30 people in 4 days for a video. You know what I'm saying? Busta Rhymes. I'm trying to think of which one on Busta. Joe, you know what it is. Definitely Biggie. Biggie, everything from
Do you
Juicy
get dumb?
to
Let me ask
Hypnotize.
you, doing this so long.
Oh yeah, and Nipsey. Nipsey was one of our.
Do you still get excited when
No,
you ever do a outfit that you be like, oh wow, or is it just
nah. It's the delivery and next moving on and worrying about the next day. I don't watch award shows. I don't do any of
no?
that.
I'm saying that. I'm saying, have you ever created an outfit or did an outfit, collaborate, whatever that you was like, yo, this shit is fly.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you ever been
Yeah.
married to
Yeah.
an
That
outfit?
that gator trench we did for you. That gator peacoat we did for you for Rock Nation.
The Rock Nation brush.
Yeah.
Shit,
That was memorable. I
one
mean,
you can't wear it no more because of Instagram and all that.
oh,
If
but you
back in the days, I'd have been rocking that gator shit. Yay!
yeah, I would wear it again. You know what I'm saying?
No, I got to wear it again.
Now you have to. You just switch it up. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Nipsey, the burgundy with the pink coat over it, that was me and Groove together
You
for
did
Rock Nation. That was Rock
a
Nation.
sweatsuit for Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace. That he's on
Oh
like
yeah,
the four.
yeah. The one that he was on the plane with
How did
the Puma hat.
all the way from LA discover you?
Because I deal with a lot of stylists, and in dealing with the stylists, I don't have to beat down the doors and knocking and go to the meetings. I just lay back. They get the deals, and then they come to me to get it to make it happen. In the beginning of the company,
You work with, I'll say, Terrellish,
Yeah, Terrellis, Groovy Lou.
Mike
I
B.
work, yeah, Mike B.
Who's the
I
girl
work,
that doing Ross?
oh, Talia Coles. I work with Talia. Yeah, I work with Rachel. You know, Rachel Johnson. We did all of LeBron. We did all of LeBron from the early ages of LeBron. We did all the commercials with LeBron. Do Jalen Rose. A lot of
Who's
people.
the
At
stylist
one,
for CC?
hmm?
Who's the stylist for CC? I see you make.
Oh yeah, that's my son-in-law. Yeah, yeah, that's my son-in-law, Jason. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Rembrandt. Yeah,
No,
he does a lot of people too.
I used to steal Amari Stoudemire. Every now and then you would make something for him. I see
Yeah,
it on track. I'll be like, yo, God, I need
yeah,
that shit right there.
yeah. Nah,
Fly
yeah.
right there. And
Truly, truly.
and sometimes I've argued with you about
Hmm.
certain prices. And
Come
no,
on, Joe.
no, because this is important for
Uh-huh.
people to know, and
Hmm.
especially black and brown people.
Yeah,
And you would tell me, I would never agree with you. I'd be pissed off.
right.
But you would tell me, yo, you don't go to Bentley and ask him why you pay so much for Bentley. You don't go to
Exactly.
Balmain and ask him, I'm 5,001. Like, you ain't supposed
Exactly.
to come in here worry about the price.
Yeah. Yo, truly. You know what I always tell people? I say, yo, there's Benz down the street, there's Bentley up the block, and Hyundai is around the corner. You at 5,001. That's the number. And you know, Joe, you make a call, you get it in one day, B. You know that.
I'm gonna admit to when my money was low. Now I'm gonna say something. When my money was low,
Uh-huh.
to the tax thing, you know, they
Mhm.
took M's from me.
Yes.
You kept me fly.
Yeah. You my brother.
At the end of the day, easily people don't respect a broke motherfucker or a guy who looks broke.
Yeah.
It's different.
Truly.
But I remember you was like, yo, Joe, you gonna be fly. You know, you gonna
Got you.
get to your bag, you gonna be
Yes.
good, and you gonna be
Mhm.
fly. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I ain't paid, but it's the
Mhm.
first time in my life you gave me pay cuts and you
Yeah.
was keeping me fly, just like
Yes.
yo, and shout out Pristine Jewelers. Um,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, always kept me fly, but I always appreciated that. Now my bag is where it's supposed to be.
Yes. Truly.
We
But you.
hustlers.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
But you know what it is, Joe. When you truly somebody's friend, you do it from the heart. You understand me? If I could give it to you for free all the time, I would. You understand me? But at the end of the day, you know all my brothers I gotta take care of up in the office. You know what I'm saying? And they
Yeah.
sitting here, they waiting. You know what I'm saying? There's no backing
Yeah, a lot
behind us.
of people.
So
And
we yeah, every deal
let me
we
tell you,
do
tell you
goes
the
to the
truth.
to the company.
I know you
Mhm.
probably heard this, but Guy has a team of all Dominicans.
Truly.
Poppy
Yeah.
is Floyd Mayweather.
28 years. 28 years we've been together, me and Pop.
But Guy, you know I try to talk to him behind your back and steal him. He will
Yo, you
not.
know what's so funny? I can't speak no Spanish. They
He's
be talking shit about me right in
Guy.
front of them.
Yo, Guy, I'm like, Papi, ven conmigo. Yo, que Papi, all this, that. And they were like, oh, Mr. Guy, my guy. I don't go there, yo. I don't know where. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. One day I needed an outfit and they ain't have it. And I
Mm-hmm.
screaming in there, right?
Uh-huh.
In your office. So
Right.
I always think I'm fucking, they playing with me. Because even though people might think I'm crazy, my friends have known to take advantage. They know I'm not
Right.
doing it, right?
Right.
So like if you would have heard it, you'd have been like, ah, fuck out of here, go to the next room. Right? But I'm doing one of them Fat Joe moves.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I don't have my shit, yo, and I'm talking and Bobby starts bleeding through his
Yeah.
nose.
You stressing him out.
Like a nervous guy. Yo,
Yeah.
I'm so bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
he's no, perdón. No, he was like, he was bleeding. Uncle Dan was like, my man, you fucking piece of shit.
You gonna kill a Taylor.
Horrible. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
does he
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
a nervous that he'll bleed?
Yeah. It's crazy stressful, Joe, because you got 15 people calling you and everybody needs their shit. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to slight Joe because Joe bought Khaled, Joe bought Ross, Joe bought everybody. So you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, he like, I can't fuck Joe over. You understand me? And he's just a nervous guy. Me, I would said, Joe, relax, I got you, B.
And many years as I know these guys, and they're
Mhm.
beautiful guys, they don't listen to hip hop. They like Latino.
Yeah, yes.
And I remember the one time I finally closed the Spanish show. It was in Square Garden. It was the Spanish show. One of these Alex's, whatever. I was the headliner, right?
Right.
Invited all of them. I gave them all tickets.
Yes.
Right? And they went. I didn't see them concert. God. And you believe all these years, I walk in your office maybe like 2-3 days later. They was like, "Yo, Gordo, I didn't know you get busy like that. Man. You was that shit." Like they thought I was like a drug dealer that was buying. They thought
you was a fake rapper.
they were like, "Oh, you really warm. You really like, yo, what I do like."
This is what I do.
Yo, God bless you. It's
Thank
time
you, my
to
brother.
book. It's time to do the movie. I'm there for everything. You deserve all the blessings. Shout out my Wood, your whole entire family.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you. Love you, bro.
Peace, my brother. I love you.
Respect.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
5001. The man don't do interviews for nobody. Every outfit you ever seen Notorious B.I.G. in, he did it. Every outfit Big Pun, every outfit DJ Khaled, every outfit Fat Joe, every outfit, everybody. It's the man behind the looks. A brilliant mind. The true meaning of black excellence. Harlem's finest. Walks the straight line, businessman. Cares about his family. 5001 flavors / Harlem haberdashery. Peace, y'all. Hey, yo, Mayor, every Mayor outfit too. Yeah, Mayor. Keep God first. Shout out Jemele Hill. Tomorrow night will be the biggest show, hands down, ever for the Fat Joe Show. Spread the word. You want to be here. Is pound for pound one of the biggest, greatest artists of all time. Still in his 20s. Y'all do the math. Tomorrow night we will have 20,000 people watching at the same time. That is how massive tomorrow night's show will be. Shout out to the Khaleds, Nicole, Khaled, for letting us use this house. Somebody start a Let Joe Back in His Crib campaign so you can see the Hector Lavoe. Put God first. Believe in God. Stay focused. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. The biggest.